Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Dithmini De Silva. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
University teachers continue strike. Professionals to meet Finance Ministry officials for talks on tax policy. Local government election fund request directed to Finance Minister for approval. Opposition leaders grills Health Minister over medicine shortage.
අපේ රටේ රෝහල් පද්ධතියේ ජීවිත බේරා ගන්නා වූ ඖෂධවල බරපතල හිගයක් තිබෙනවා.
මේ කාර්තු අවසාන වෙනකොට මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ 75ක් සුවක් මම විසඳනවා hier.
Ordinary level examination likely to be delayed due to delay in marking AL answer scripts.
මේ ටැක්ස් එකත් එක්ක පටලව ගන්න එපා දරුවන්ගේ උත්තර පත්‍ර පරීක්ෂා කරන එක.
Xi Jinping handed third term as China's president.
In your top story this hour, the Federation of University Teachers Associations is on strike for the second consecutive day. The strike was launched yesterday in line with the trade union action launched by the Professionals Trade Union Collective against the government's unfair tax policy. That several universities were disrupted today as well as a result of university teachers withdrawing from academic and administrative services. The strike will continue until the 15th of March. Academic activities at several faculties of the University of Colombo were disrupted today. Lecturers at the University of Pearl Albania also engaged in a strike today, protesting against the government's tax policy.
ඒ අනුව විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ආචාර්ය සමිති සම්මේලනයේ සියලුම අපේ සමාජිකාවන් මේ වෙනකොට අධ්‍යයන කටයුතු වලින් සහ අනිකුත් කටයුතු වලින් ඉවත් වෙලා ඉනවා දෙවෙනි දවසට. ඉතින් අපි නැවතම තවත් රජයට මතක් කරනවා මේ තත්ත්වය දිගින් දිගටම පවත්වාගෙන යනෝදී මේට විසඳුමක් දීලා මේ කටයුත්ත ඉක්මනට අවසන් කරන්නට දායක වෙන්න කියලා. විශේෂයෙන්ම ඉදිරි දින කිහිපය තුළ එහෙම නොවුනොත් අනිකුත් වෘත්තිකයන් සමග එකතුව මේ වෘත්තීය සමිති ක්‍රියාමාර්ගය දැවැන්ත අරගලයක් බවට වෘත්තීය සමිති ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් බවට ලබන සතියේ මැද වෙනකොට පත් වේවි. ඒ සඳහා ඒ මගින් අපහසුතාවයට පත් වෙන පිරිසට ඒ වගකීම රජය බාර ගන්න ඕන කියන
Newsfirst correspondent said academic activities at the University of Ruhuna were severely disrupted today.
මේ අසාධාරණ බදු ප්‍රතිපත්තිය වෘත්තිකයන්ට බලපාන ආකාරය ඉතාම ප්‍රබල විදිහට දැනෙච්ච නිසා තමයි අපි විශ්වවිද්‍යාලීය ආචාර්ය සමිති සම්මේලනයේ හැටියට තීරණය කරේ ආරම්භ කිරීමට. ඔබ දන්නවා මේ පවතින රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ පාලනය යටතේ මේ හඳුනා දුණු බදු ප්‍රතිපත්තිය ඇත්තටම ඒකට කිසිම ආකාරයකට ඔහුට ජනපදනමක් නැහැ. ජනපදනමක් ඇතුව තමයි රටක බදු ප්‍රතිපත්තිය හඳුනා දෙන්න ඕනේ. මේ බදු පැනවීම හරහා ඉතාම අසාධාරණ විදිහට වෘත්තිකයන්ට වගේම ආර්ථිකයට ඍණාත්මක බලපෑමක් ඇති කරනවා. ඔබ දන්නවා මේ වෙද්දී 150කට අධික ප්‍රමාණයක් අපේ වෘත්තිකයන් විශේෂම විශ්වවිද්‍යාල වල
The Professionals Trade Union Collective is due to hold talks with officials of the Ministry of Finance today regarding the new tax policy. Spokesperson for the Government Medical Officers Association, Dr. Chamil Vijay Singh, has said the discussion will be a follow-up to the talks held with the President recently.
මේ සාකච්ඡාව ගොඩ නැගෙන්නේ මේ සාකච්ඡාවට ආරාධනා ලැබෙන්නේ ජනාධිපතිතුමා සමග පැවති සාකච්ඡාවේදී කියන යෝජනාවකට අනුව අපි ලොකු විශ්වාසයක් තියන්නේ නැහැ මේ සාකච්ඡාවේදී අපිට.
We were invited to the discussion based on a proposal made during the meeting held with the President. We don't believe we'll receive a favourable response during this meeting, but we will remain hopeful that the government will at least try to resolve this issue professionally. The Professionals Trade Unions Collective compiled a report with alternate proposals. We handed it to the President. Today's discussion with the Finance Ministry and the Treasury will be based on that report. We have explained the professionals' demands when it comes to fair changes regarding the tax amendment. We have also presented recommendations on how to obtain more taxes and increase the state income in the short, middle and long term, and will discuss these alternatives and solutions today.
එකතු කරගන්නේ කොහොමද? මේ කෙටි කාලන මධ්‍ය කාලන සහ දීර්ඝ කාලන විසඳුම් විකල්ප මොනවද කියන කාරණේ අපි අද දවසේදී සාකච්ඡා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු.
Education Minister Susil Premajanta told Parliament that the strike action by university teachers could likely result in a delay in conducting the O-level examination. We have more details on this story later on in the bulletin. Meanwhile, protests were held in several areas across the country on Thursday night, citing several issues including the electricity tariff hike, cost of living and delayed elections. A protest organised by the People's Struggle Movement was held in Anuradhapura on Thursday night. The group expressed their objections to the electricity tariff hike, cost of living and delayed elections.
People don't have food, there is no medicine at hospitals, farmers can't sell their harvest, people can't repay their loan installments, they can't even afford to travel to work. Is this development? Is this an uplifted economy? People can't bear electricity tariff hikes. Fuel prices were also increased by 3 to 4-fold. After the hike, they reduced it by 50 cents or 1 rupee.
Another protest organised by the Jathika Janabalawegaya was held in Pahalamaraghawava, Anuradhapura last night.
This government said the rupee appreciated against the dollar and reduced prices of goods by a small margin. They postponed elections, increased electricity tariffs, robbed people's livelihoods, attacked protests and is engaged in oppression.
Meanwhile, another protest organised by the Jathika Janabalawegaya was held in Andanakhawatha. Another protest organised by the Dambulla Public Council was held in the Dambulla town against the rising cost of living.
We cannot settle the electricity bills now. There are no medicines in hospitals. Surgeries were stopped. These are people's issues and we urge the government to provide solutions.
All Island United Samurdhi Development Officers Society are preparing for a trade union action against the revision on the Samurdhi benefits.
ආණ්ඩුව සහනාධාර සංශෝධනයකට මුල පුරලා සමාජගත කරලා තියෙනවා. සමාජ සුබසාධන මණ්ඩලය හරහා
The government is ready for a revision in concessions through the Welfare Benefits Board. The Welfare Board does not have a will to carry out a survey. There are 1.7 million Samurdhi beneficiaries. There is a total of 3.7 million applications. 1,160 million rupees is required as payment for the officers alone. That money can be used to assist the people. The suitable people should be given the concessions.
කැමති නිවැරදි සුදුසුසන සහනාධාර දෙනවට. කිසිදු රජයක් සමානාධාර වැඩපිළිවෙල තුල තමන්ගේ දේශපාලනයෙන් ඉවත් වෙලා තිබුණේ නැහැ. සමෘද්ධි ව්‍යාපාරයේ මේවට
Education Minister Susil Premajayantha told Parliament that the strike action by university teachers could likely result in a delay in conducting the O-level examination.
Evaluation of answer scripts has been delayed by 2 weeks. That means the results will also be delayed. The OL exam was to be held in May, that too will likely to be delayed, and the AL exam will also be delayed. Another issue will arise in covering the syllabus. We need to close the schools for 23 days for the A-level exam. For the O-level exam, we need to close the schools for 2 weeks. These children were affected by COVID for 2 years. I appeal the university teachers not to involve the tax with the evaluation process. We will address the demands.
The Citizens Force Against Fraud, Corruption and Waste filed a complaint with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption on Friday morning.
දේශපාලඥයින් සහ නිලධාරීන් දූෂිත ගණදෙනු කිරීම නිසා රට අද වෙනකොට බංගලොත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. වොෂින්ටන් නගරයේ පිහිටි
The country is bankrupt today due to the corrupt actions of the politicians and the officials. Global Finance Grading in Washington reports that customs and large-scale entrepreneurs jointly caused a loss of 14 trillion rupees over the past 10 years. When importing and exporting goods, businessmen declare it as a lower price. It is a known secret that they avoid taxes in this manner. I urge Ranil Rajapaksa to formulate a program for the government to recover this loss from businessmen instead of burdening the people by increasing electricity tariffs and taxes.
සරණ කරන වෙලාවේ මෙන්න මේ කූට ව්‍යාපාරිකයන් එකතු වෙලා මෙන්න මේ කෝටි 14 ලක්ෂයක මුදල රජයට ලබා ගන්න ක්‍රමවේද හදන්න.
State Minister Shehan Semasinghe made a request from the Deputy Speaker in Parliament over a matter that is pending with the Committee on Ethics and Privileges. MP Premnath Sidolawatha told Parliament recently that the powers and privileges of Parliament have been violated by an interim order issued by the court.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, I request your permission to raise a question regarding the breach of privileges of the Honourable Members of the Parliament. As you are aware, Honourable Premnath Sidolawatha raised a question of privilege in this Parliament regarding the interim order referred to the case number SC/FR/69/2023. The letter bearing number F/03/2023 dated 8 March 2023 submitted by the Chairman of the Elections Commission on the same subject to the Honourable Minister of Finance, Economic Stabilisation and National Policies has further breached the privileges of the Honourable Members of this House. In the condition, Honourable Speaker has accepted the question of breach of privileges raised by Honourable Premnath Dolawatta and presented it to the Committee on Parliamentary Ethics and Privileges. It is a serious offence to implement the interim order of the aforesaid case before hearing the said matter and making a decision. By tabling the letter of the Chairman of the Elections Commission, I request the Honourable Deputy Speaker to refer the same matter to the Committee of Parliamentary Ethics and Privileges to conduct an inquiry. Further, by raising this privilege matter, I request the Honourable Deputy Speaker to advise all relevant authorities not to proceed further or take any action on the above said matter until the Privileges Committee concludes its inquiry.
Opposition MPs led by the opposition leader met with the Deputy Speaker of Parliament. MPs from the opposition in Parliament met with the Deputy Speaker to discuss the privilege issues raised by State Minister Shehan Semasinghe and MP Premnath Dolawatta with regard to the Supreme Court order on funding the local government election. The opposition believes that such privilege issues create a conflict between the legislature and the judiciary. The opposition MPs have requested the Deputy Speaker to dismiss the privilege issues raised by MP Dolawatta and State Minister Semasinghe. Sri Lanka's Finance Secretary has informed the country's Election Commission that the request letter for funds for the local government election was directed to the Finance Minister for approval. This was in response to the letter sent to the Finance Secretary by the Election Commission on the 7th of March, seeking funds for the local government election.
Election Commission Chairman Attorney Nimal Punchiheva noted that the Finance Secretary had informed him of the fact that given the current situation in the country, the Finance Secretary's approval alone will be sufficient to provide funds for the local government election. However, the Election Commission Chairman said he was hopeful the necessary funds will be delivered in due course. The local government election scheduled for the 9th of March 2023 was postponed due to the lack of funds, and it was rescheduled to the 25th of April 2023. Sri Lanka's Supreme Court on the 3rd of March issued an interim order on the country's Finance Secretary and the Attorney General who represents the Finance Minister, preventing them from withholding any funds allocated by the 2023 budget for the local government poll 2023.
Candidates contesting for the Panduasnuwara Pradeshya Sabha convened a media briefing and expressed views regarding the situation they are facing.
We prepared for an election. We were told the local government election will be held on the 9th of March. Everyone was fully committed to the election. After we prepared for the election and carried out our campaigns, at the end the President said funds cannot be released and suspended the election. What happened to us then? We cannot distribute the papers we printed for the election in March because the election was not held on the 9th of March. The Election Commission should give us a proper word, hold discussions and responsibly announce a date for the election. If they say the election will be held next week, we are prepared to face it. You have inconvenienced the candidates and voters. We request the President to ensure the right to vote within this democratic country and framework.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa questioned the Health Minister over the crisis in the health sector due to the shortage of medicine and supplies.
අද වෙන විට අපේ රටේ රෝහල් පද්ධතියේ අත්‍යවශ්‍යම බෙහෙත් පිළිකා හෘද රෝග අධික රුධිර පීඩනය sugar liver kidneys
Essential and life-saving medicines for cancer, HBP, diabetes, CKD are in short supply, and it is a serious concern. At the same time, there is a serious shortage of life-saving equipment as well. Further, there is a shortage of Triposha that is essential for mothers and children. Please provide us with a list of the shortages so we too can support in addressing the matter. There is, however, an issue. We have suspended our HUSMA program during the the election period. It is prohibited to provide incentives during an election period.
ලබා දෙන්නම්. හැබැයි එතනදී ප්‍රශ්නෙකුත් තියෙනවා. මේ මැතිවරණ සමයේ අපි අපේ හුස්ම වැඩසටහන නතර කරලා තියෙන්නේ. මොකද ඔබතුමා දන්නවා මැතිවරණ කාල වකවානුවන් තුල ප්‍රධානයෙන් කිරීමක් තහනම්.
ඊයේ දවස වෙනකොට 156කින් අඩුව තිබ්බ ඖෂධ වලින් 83ක්.
Yesterday there was a shortage of 156 types of medicines, and today we have managed to obtain 83 of them. The Finance Ministry has supported the health sector in every possible way. None of the essential requirements have been delayed. I appreciate the Husma program. However, the election should be viewed as an obstruction to support the health sector. We will be issuing bonds to service 40 billion rupees in debt next week. When that is achieved, we can reach a zero credit situation.
පටන් ගන්න ලබන සතියේ ඉඳන් බිලියන 40ක් පපන තියෙනවා ණය. ඒක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම පිළිඅර ගත්ත බාර අරන් තියෙනවා මේ කට්ටිය. බන්ස් බාර ගන්න. ඒක අපි ලබා දීපුවාම බොහෝ දුරට zero credit තත්යකට පත් කරගන්න පුළුවන්.
The Election Commission said the government printer has informed that the ballot papers for postal voting can be delivered within 5 days and other ballot papers can be delivered within 20 to 25 days. The Election Commission has informed to obtain the necessary funds for the printing purposes from the Finance Secretary. Further, the Election Commission has informed the government printer to provide all necessary details to the Inspector General of Police with regard to the provision of police security. It added that the senior DIG in charge of elections has informed that following such a request, the necessary police security can be provided. Further, officials from the CPC and the Ministry of Power and Energy are to reach an agreement in due course over the provision of fuel for the local government election. In addition, the National Election Commission has recommended that the basic salary of public sector employees who are contesting the election be paid only for the delayed period. The new chairman for sectoral oversight committees of the Sri Lankan Parliament have been appointed.
Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa on Thursday was appointed as the new chairman of the Sectoral Oversight Committee on International Relations of the Sri Lankan Parliament. MP Gamini Walepuda was appointed as the chairman of the Sectoral Oversight Committee on alleviating the impact of the economic crisis. MP Buddhika Patrena was appointed as the chairman of the Sectoral Oversight Committee on increasing export of goods and services. MP Nalaka Bandara Kottegoda was appointed as the chairman of the Sectoral Oversight Committee on Energy and Transport. Moreover, MP Chamal Rajapaksa was unanimously appointed as the chair to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges for the 4th session of the 9th Parliament on Thursday.
Vegetable farmers in Sri Lanka have been left helpless as they have been unable to sell their produce for a reasonable price.
These are the vegetable cultivations located in Uva Parnagama in Valimada. Farmers cultivated many crops including carrots, radish, cabbage and even pumpkin, hoping to reap a rich harvest that they can sell for a reasonable price. However, this time around, their hopes faded away as the prices of many vegetables plummeted over the past several weeks. In addition, farmers claim the decision to allow potato imports also attributed to this crisis.
An event in line with the International Women's Day organized by Equal Ground was held in Colombo on Wednesday. Corporate leader.
An event in line with International Women's Day organized by Equal Ground was held in Colombo with the participation of women from many sectors in the society. The event was organized in the pursuit of celebrating social, cultural, economic and political achievements of women to recognize challenges women face and increase awareness on women's rights and gender equality. A panel discussion was held with the participation of women from different fields. Film and theatre actor Dinara Punchiheva spoke about the progress made in the cinema industry in terms of gender equality.
And I think women get criticized for the same things that men get praised for. And, you know, in the cinema industry, we have this sort of female ideal. And I think the more we look at the female for their qualities or, you know, their stories, their vulnerabilities and, you know, their talents, I think we can move away from the stereotypical roles. Even with payment, for example, the male actor or the female actor, I think things are changing in mainstream cinema. Actors are paid more for their skill now, and you know, a few years ago, male actors would earn way more than female actors, but now it's changing. So, you know, I'm really happy to see that as an actor.
Speaking at the panel discussion, attorney Ambika Satkunanathan spoke about laws pertaining to online gender-based violence in the country.
What you will realize is that these laws are not actually geared for this. We're using laws that were made for another purpose. We're taking different sections out of that to use for this, which is why the outcomes also tend to be, uneven and sometimes even harmful. So we have the Obscene Publications Act of 1927. This is 2023. So that is, publication of nude, semi-nude photos, but aim of the law is not protection of women from, revenge porn and things like that. It is to protect society from these obscene publications. And of course, obscene publications, the term is not defined, which means it can also be used against various groups, societies, communities.
Several invitees, including the US Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Julie Chung, participated in the event.
Corporate Leaders Masterclass, Responsible Corporate Leadership for Economic Recovery and Growth took place in Colombo yesterday.
The event was organised by the School of Management at the University of Bradford, UK, and ABEC Premier, with the aim of helping leaders to understand how responsible management and leadership, an ethical and a sustainable financial strategy, and inclusive and value-driven digital projects can support organizations to develop and grow in the post-pandemic world.
Usually hierarchical leadership is pretty quite common here in South Asia, where the chairman sits at the top of the pyramid and expects everybody else to follow them. We have to move away from that kind of thinking, move into a more equal human opportunities for everybody, where the leaders understand, they are empathetical, and they are able to bring together people to follow shared and morally sound vision. That's what we are lacking at the moment.
Master Blaster Sanat Jayasuriya was present at the event. The masterclass was followed by a networking dinner.
Celebrating the life and work of the late Lucky Senanayaka. Atra magazine's launch of the Lucky Senanayaka edition and Art Experiential Festival. Saturday, 11th March at 5:30 p.m. on TV1. Streaming live on Newsfirst's Facebook and YouTube channels.
China's parliament backs Xi Jinping for third term as president.
Xi had sidelined potential challengers and filled the party's top ranks with his supporters since taking power in 2012. Xi Jinping has secured an unprecedented-breaking third five-year term as China's president, a largely ceremonial role putting him on track to remain in power for the rest of his life. The nearly 3,000 members of the National People's Congress, China's largely ceremonial parliament, voted unanimously for Xi after the constitution was changed to remove the traditional two-term limit for the post. Xi also secured unanimous backing for a third term as chairman of the country's Central Military Commission. Since taking power in 2012, 69-year-old Xi has sidelined any potential challengers and filled the party with his supporters, turning himself into China's most powerful leader since Mao Zedong. He had himself named for a third five-year term as party general secretary in October, breaking with the tradition under which Chinese leaders handed over power once a decade.
Lahiru Kumara and Asitha Fernando took 2 wickets each as New Zealand crumbled to 162 for 5 at stumps on day 2 against Sri Lanka in the first test in Christchurch.
Sri Lanka posted 305 runs at the loss of 6 wickets on the opening day of the game after New Zealand skipper Tim Southee won the toss and opted to bowl first. Tim Southee bagged 5 wickets as Sri Lanka were bowled out for 355 on day 2. Kusal Mendis shines with an 87-run knock while Dimuth Karunaratne scored 50. Tom Latham and Devon Conway gave the hosts a strong start, adding 67 runs for the first wicket before 3 quick dismissals turned the tide in Sri Lanka's favour. Lahiru Kumara and Asitha Fernando took 2 wickets each as New Zealand crumbled to 162 for 5 at stumps on day 2 against Sri Lanka in the first test in Christchurch.
That's a wrap of the Lunchtime News. Join us again at 1:30 on our hourly news bulletin.